Hello. Hello, Pradyumna. Oh. Hello. Shashikaran.
Sir, this is Pruha, sir.
Pruha?
Shashi sir is having a little problem with his laptop. He'll be joining in 2 minutes.
Tell me, Pruha. Hello.
Shashi sir is having a problem with his laptop, sir.
Okay. Ask
He'll
him to
be
join
joining
with a
in 2
mobile
minutes.
phone because
Yeah,
commissioner will be trying. Okay.
okay, sir.
Who is accepting the requests?
I am accepting.
Okay. Do you have a commissioner's numbers?
No, sir, I don't.
You please note down.
Okay,
Are you
sure, sir.
are you going to get numbers or name or something like that?
For what, sir?
No, for accepting my requisition,
No,
like my name will
I'll get
appear
the
no
name,
there.
sir. I'll get the name.
Then no need to write
Yeah, I
numbers.
know the name, sir. Sir, accept.
Okay.
Yes.
So Spruha, You will be introducing Dr. Sri Krishna Islur, sir, right?
Yes, sir. We'll be introducing, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Today we'll do it systematically.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You better you call him or ask your friends, anyone, to call him and join with phone.
Okay, sir.
My laptop also was having some issues, so I left laptop and joined with phone.
Okay, sir. I'll tell that.
You have to accept only two important people, Sri Krishna Islur, sir, and Praveen Malik, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
The number is rising. Okay, already it is 54.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do the
Okay,
needful now.
okay, sir.
Okay. ಆತು ಆತು ತಗೋ ನೀವು ಹೋಗಿ.
आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
I welcome everyone and I request Karate sir to start the session.
Okay, thank you, Shashikiran. Dr. Praveen Malik sir has joined us.
Oh, just a minute, sir. I will clear.
And Sri Krishna Islur sir, check.
Yes, sir. Islo sir is there with us, sir.
Yeah.
Is there?
Okay, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Dr. Karate. How are you?
Sir, fine, sir. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀನಿ sir. Sir, join ಆಗಲಿ sir. ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡೋಣ sir.
I hope my voice is pretty clear and you are able.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your voice is clear and we can see you, sir.
Okay, Dr. Karate. Thank you.
Sir, Shashikiran,
Yes, sir.
just check whether Commissioner sir has joined or not.
Okay, sir. No, sir. Still he hasn't yet arrived, sir.
Okay. Dr. Sri Krishna Islur sir mute ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು ನಿಮಗೆ ಅನ್ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ?
So he will say that after when I start the session, I will only unmute myself and give.
Islur sir.
Yeah. Dr. Karate.
ಸರ್ ಅದೇ ಸರ್ ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಡ್ರಿ ಸರ್ ತಾವು. ಕಮಿಷನರ್ ಸರ್ ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಇನ್ನ.
Okay. I am not in hurry. Let.
Okay, sir. Let's wait for a few more minutes, sir. Let him join and we will begin, sir.
Sure. No issues.
Okay, sir. Sahiti? Sahiti, are you there?
Sir.
So you will be introducing Dr. Praveen Malik, sir, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Karate sir, Praveen Malik sir has joined the meeting.
Okay.
Yes, sir. He joined. Yes.
Welcome, Dr. Praveen Malik, sir.
Good morning, Dr. Islur.
Oh, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
कैसे हैं?
Fine, thank you, sir. आप कैसे हैं?
Sir, देखिए, my privilege to be the speaker again for the second time with you as the chairman. What a coincidence.
Sir, good morning. Good morning, sir. Good morning. This is Dr. Arun Karate from Veterinary College Bidar, sir.
Dr. Arun, unfortunately, we have to be quicker because I'm sitting in another
No
meeting.
problem, sir. In no time we will begin, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, good morning, all. Today we are beginning with the second day of our webinar, Rapid Rabies Awareness Prevention and its Diagnosis, jointly organized by International Veterinary Students Association and Veterinary College KVFSU Bidar. Dear participants, yesterday we had a very good session and interesting discussions, and today we have very special and eminent personalities with us. I'm really happy to welcome Honorable Dr. Praveen Malik, sir, Commissioner, Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Government of India, who has accepted to be our guest of honor. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of Dean Veterinary College Bidar, International Students Veterinary Association Bidar. I also welcome, sir. I also welcome today's speaker, Dr. Sri Krishna Islur, sir, Associate Professor and Laboratory Director, KVFSU CVA Rabies Diagnostic Laboratory, OIE Reference Laboratory for Rabies, Department of Microbiology, Veterinary College, Hebbal, Bangalore. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of Dean Veterinary College Bidar and ISBA Bidar. We are eager to listen to your discussion, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Karate.
I also welcome Dr. Dilip Kumar, sir, Dean Veterinary College Bidar for today's session. Sir, I welcome you on behalf of students. Further, I welcome all participants, colleagues, and students. Now, before the inaugural speech by Commissioner, sir, I request Sahiti to give a brief introduction about Honorable Dr. Praveen Malik, sir, Commissioner, Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Government of India. Sahiti, please.
Good morning, everyone. It gives me an immense pleasure to introduce our guest of honor for today's webinar, Dr. Praveen Malik sir. Born in 1968, had graduated in veterinary science from GB Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, Pantnagar in 1990. He completed his master's in veterinary bacteriology in 1993 and did his PhD in veterinary microbiology in 2003. During graduation, he procured University Merit Scholarship and Vice Chancellor Bronze Medal for the third best graduating student. He has more than 22 years of research experience as veterinary microbiologist on animal diseases. Out of these, 3 years he worked on surveillance of diseases in free-ranging wildlife on a project seroepidemiological studies on some infectious viral and bacterial diseases in wild ungulates in Sariska National Park and Tiger Reserve at Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun. During his research activities at ICAR, National Research Center on Equines, he was deeply involved in detection and containment of glanders amongst equines, surveillance and monitoring of equine infectious anemia and other bacterial diseases like strangles in equines in India. He took part in development of sensitive and specific diagnostics for glanders, equine infectious anemia, and Salmonella abortus equi, and also participated in the development of an OMP-based vaccine candidate against Salmonella abortus equi in equines. He worked as in charge and coordinator at veterinary type culture collection. As director PCS NIH, he is responsible for acting as a nodal officer to recommend licensing of veterinary biologicals in the country. At present, he is serving as Commissioner Animal Husbandry and Dairying Government of India. We heartily welcome you, sir. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, Sahiti. Sir, we are very lucky to have you as our guest today. Now, I request Honorable Dr. Praveen Malik, sir, Commissioner, Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying, Government of India, to deliver his inaugural speech. Dr. Praveen Malik, sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Arun. In fact, it's my privilege and pleasure to be with this team of young students and faculties. A wonderful thing. In fact, when we were sitting, we used to sit with quite old people, and probably at that time we feel like we have been taught by these people, and now we are sitting with them. But definitely sitting with these group of bunch of young chaps from veterinary sciences, it feels really energetic and happy about like the way they have took the initiatives and kind of the topics they have chosen. Thank you very much, Dr. Arun. Thank you very much, Dr. Isloor, for connecting me to this wonderful, vibrant group. In fact, when we were talking about rabies, the only name comes to my mind from India is one Dr. Isloor and another Dr. C.K. Singh from Punjab. That's the big beard man from Punjab, Dr. Charan Kamal Singh. In fact, when I saw this particular one, I think I could not even respond to your mails, and this thing I could just speak to Dr. Isloor once and say, yeah, I can do it. Like last week was really very hectic and busy. In fact, even today I am attending another meeting right now on board of directors, and I'm sitting there. Still, I'm seeing these people presenting some of those things. So it's like 2 meetings at a time. That's the problem with COVID and the kind of situation we are facing. But it's wonderful. Like we can have better connectivities, more connectivities with people in such a difficult time of COVID. So the new thing which has come to our system is webinar. So this webinar probably on one side, it's not really good because we cannot connect to people physically and cannot basically share the emotions we have got, but definitely the knowledge, the kind of information we can share among these, and the kind of attendance we can have in this is really wonderful. So we'd like to take best use of these technologies nowadays. Coming to the topic, it's really wonderful that you have chosen in rabies a wonderful thing called this rabies awareness, prevention, and diagnosis. Though the sequence does not fit really well, but the acronym fits very well, RAPID. It's
Thank you.
very wonderful. But whatever, in fact, the thing is, you have got a wonderful speaker, Dr. Shri Krishna Stoor, who will be guiding you through his journey in rabies and the kind of system we are developing in India. When basically we say we celebrate the World Rabies Day, but it's the death anniversary of the great gentleman Louis Pasteur. So it's just observation. Maybe we will not say we will congratulate, but we'll say we have to be more vigilant about our responsibilities in terms of our goal or our duties towards elimination of dog-mediated rabies. At least if we not say the animal-mediated rabies, it is very, very important. Importantly, the component of rabies, when we're talking about, we generally read the rabies from either animal perspective or from the human perspective. And they're quite different in fact, because a human is a dead-end reservoir kind of, and animals, they're kind transmitting this. So when we are talking about the animal rabies, it's really different for ruminants, it's different from the canines and felines. So we need to basically understand what kind of role you have to play when you are sitting in the veterinary fraternity. You have got a long life to live and like kind of long journey to perform in the field of veterinary service delivery. And in that, you need to basically understand the requirements on the human side as well. So it's basically a cross-sectoral, intersectoral, interdisciplinary kind of approach we need to tackle these kind of problems. And when you have rightly pointed out, it's regarding the awareness, the detection, prediction, response, either therapeutic or the prophylactic. But the best part in this is, though the virus is very, very deadly, but it is very, very fragile as well. Only yesterday, Dr. Isloor was talking about that we generally have got a big fear of rabies. Whenever we listen to rabies, it's really deadly, but it's very, very vulnerable virus, can be destroyed easily. So probably with a limited understanding of biosafety, that's very, very important. We can basically tackle this particular disease. Importantly, it's so deadly and it's causing so many deaths across the system that the three big parties internationally, the organizations on health side like WHO, on the animal side OIE, on agricultural side FAO, they have come up as a tri-party to basically pledge to eliminate the human deaths from the dog-mediated rabies by 2030. It means we don't have a bigger window, it's just 10 years. In 10 years, probably we have to start from scratch, because whatever we are doing, we know we have got good knowledge, we have got good understanding, we have got good support. But then action has to be taken up. You can take examples of countries like Bhutan, though they are small, but the terrain is very difficult. We have got examples of states like Goa. We have got examples of states like Sikkim, where people have really taken up the things in a wonderful way. Similarly, because you are very closely sitting with Dr. Isloor in Bangalore, and that Karnataka can be very well taken care of under the guidance of Dr. Isloor himself. So it's like we can initiate some of those activities where we can at least aware the general population, make even veterinarians aware about the disease, about the steps they have to take in diagnosing, predicting, and responding to the diseases. So we need to have a clear defined vision, a strategic approach, a strong resolution for this, and advocacy at all levels of the society. So these four features probably will bring into a definitely big change. And by these changes, we see that the targets of eliminating dog-mediated human rabies can be achieved easily. On our part, at Department of Animal Husbandry, sitting in the center, we are including, we have started processing the papers for including dogs and cats, the companion animals, within the mandate of the department. It was not there. So we were not talking about dogs at all. And on the human side, they were not talking of the dogs because they say like dog is not our domain, it's our human population only. So that was kind of a missing link. So we wanted to have that missing link joined somewhere so that this approach of intersectoral process can be seamless, and we can have those kind of approaches which can be started right there in animal side to prevent to safeguard the human population. In fact, this is not only true for rabies, it's true for all zoonotic problems. The basic issue is when we say like 60% of the zoonosis they emerge in animal side. So the best part is if we can just tap these zoonosis right there in the animal population and not to take these when they have reached the animal human side. So it's like difficult also when we'll be tackling human side, and probably quite difficult also to kind of control such situations. So the best part is if these can be tapped right in the bird. So department has taken some initiatives. We were already paying some issuing some funds to Animal Welfare Board and through them some municipalities to take up the ABC program. Yes, definitely the funds are not good. On the other side, we are also now including rabies into our SCAN program, that is Assistant to State for Control of Animal Diseases, so that we can initiate. And the states are requested basically to take up rabies as a big agenda for them and start basically promoting awareness, promoting the management, promoting the vaccination and sterilization of dogs, and all those activities within the states, not only in urban sectors but also in rural sectors. We have got a big population of rural, urban and pet dogs. It's like together, if we say, it's like 25 million dogs are there in India. And it's not a small number to say, because we have to go for, as Dr. Isloor said, minimum 70% of the animals have to be vaccinated for creating a herd immunity kind of system. And he's right. And sometimes even when we are talking about diseases like this, which is not directly spreading through direct contact, it's like has to be a specific contact having a diverse involvement. Probably we need to go for higher kind of disease herd immunity. So basically, it is the complete fraternity, including not only the professionals, veterinarians, but also the paraprofessionals and the people who are directly involved with the animals, the animal handlers, dog catchers, and other people who are simply having this as an animal lover kind of companion animals. Probably we need to understand that these people have to be made aware, have to be basically trained into these kind of things, how to take your care, how to basically have those biosafety principles in place so that they can basically prevent the disease to enter into human side. We are already coordinating in a standing committee on zoonosis. We are also coordinating these people on the rabies front directly, and the human side, the National Center for Disease Control is coming up with a national action plan on rabies elimination. It's basically dog mediated. So this national action plan for the country has been developed in close coordination with animal husbandry sector. Most importantly, when you just go through that particular animal, this national action plan, most of the key indicators belong to your sector. You are mainly responsible for all those actions. So whatever actions you have to take up, it is your responsibility. And when we have got the responsibility, probably we have to take a proactive action. Funds are definitely problem for this, but it's not always about funds. It's always about the passion. When you have got the passion, funds will definitely come either from NGOs or from the government sector or from the municipalities, from one part or the another. But definitely we need to have that kind of passion. And the important part when we are talking about passion about animals, We care for those animals, we care for the human. So we have to bring in all those important factors which are being considered in National Action Plan, like responsible ownership for ensuring vaccination with other responsibilities of registrations and other things. We need to talk about the stray dog management. We need to talk about vaccination of not only the pets but also the stray dogs, which is quite difficult, I know. And we have requested Dr. Islur and other laboratories to come up or at least talk about some kind of oral baits. And in case these oral baits are successful and useful in the field, kind of overdosing, kind of exposure to environment, exposure to other animals, if this can be taken into consideration, can be taken care of by these people, probably we can initiate the program in big way. Then comes the availability of the vaccines. If we can start vaccinating all those animals. Yesterday, Dr. Islur was talking about vaccinating not only the canines or felines, the companion animals, but also all other non-target species, kind of ruminants and others, as prophylactic vaccination. Probably the biggest issue in that is the availability of the vaccine. And we need to basically understand the capacity of the industry, the capabilities and kind of willingness of industry to come forward, and then the amount who has to pay for, and are the owners or the livestock farmers ready to pay that much amount for rabies vaccination. Though the final answer is death in case a disease is contracted, but may not be easy to convince these farmers to come up for these kind of vaccinations. So probably right now we have to focus only on the companion animals, especially dogs and cats, and then we can enter into wildlife also through some interventions from the laboratories, some support from the laboratories. We have to bring these private players also, like the private practitioners, because for sure large animal is practiced by the government people, mainly in public sector in India, but the small animal sector is mainly dominated by the private practitioners in India. So they have to also come forward and join hands. As students from the veterinary colleges, when you are passing out, I am not sure how many of you will enter into the industry, how many of you will enter into the private practice as an independent this one. So my point is probably there also you have to have a direct connect with the government sector to come up with strategies, to follow such strategies and to implement those strategies in the field, so that we can achieve the target of eliminating dog-mediated rabies in humans. At least we have to reduce the dog-mediated human deaths due to rabies by 2030. And I hope with these kind of interactions, the kind of awareness and the kind of initiatives from none other than the students who are the budding who are budding up in this particular sector, probably they'll take our message forward to the whole of society and will bring our dreams a success. Thank you very much. The only appeal and the message from my side is together we can achieve. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Arun. Thank you very much, Dr. Islur and other organizers. I would like to compliment the International Veterinary Student Association and the Karnataka Veterinary Animal Science Institute and the dean, Dr. Dilip, who has been basically behind all these things and who have permitted you to organize such a wonderful webinar of 2 days. And I'm really happy to be part of this particular seminar. Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you.
Karate, just before you actually go for the word of thanks, I would like to say only take a few seconds. Our team from Bangalore,
thank you, sir. Sir.
Yeah, profusely thank Honorable Animal Husbandry Commission for all that they have been doing.
Okay, sir. Please, sir. Proceed, sir.
Yeah, because special thanks to our Malik Saab for also finding some time, squeezing his time amidst his extremely busy schedule in this parliamentary session. So for addressing
Dr. Praveen Malik, sir. Sir,
Thank you,
we
Doctor.
are really lucky, sir, today. Sir, I thank Dr. Praveen Malik, sir, for being with us today and for sharing his views about rabies, for highlighting how the possibilities of the prevention and the breaking of transmission chain can be explored. Sir, you are a great inspiration to all young minds. We will remain grateful to you, sir. So now I request Spruha to give a brief introduction
Thank you, Doctor.
about Explore, sir, today's guest speaker. Over to Spruha.
Dr.
Because
Sir,
I want to
sir.
leave, so I just want to thank all of you, Dr. Islu. I would like to request Dr.
Okay, sir.
Islu
Thank
to
you, sir.
basically touch upon the male infertility drugs and kind of other alternatives than the spaying only. And also a bit of details on NAPRI and the kind of expectations we have from veterinarians. Right, from my side.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. And I would like to be clear. Sorry for this. I have got another meeting going on. So thank you very much for sparing time, and thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Spruha?
Yes, sir.
Spruha, please give a brief introduction about Dr. Sri Krishna Islur, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning to one and all present here, and welcome to the second day of Rapid Webinar. I am very excited to welcome our speaker for today, Dr. Sri Krishna Islur, Associate Professor and Laboratory Director, Veterinary College, KVFSU, Hebel, Bangalore. Dr. Islur has been working in the field of veterinary microbiology and biotechnology for the past 29 years. He has been involved in the development of diagnostics and vaccines, molecular epidemiology, and human resource development with special reference to brucellosis, bovine mastitis, and rabies. He has been the principal investigator of various national and international research projects. Dr. Islur has undergone training programs on biosafety aspects of rabies, CDC Atlantic, US. He represents India for the regional training of rabies at the OIE Reference Center for Rabies, Changchun, China during 2017. He played a pivotal role in Lakshadweep survey on rabies under WHO program. He has authored several research publications. Dr. Islur was a recipient for Best Veterinarian Award for the year 2003, National Fellow of Indian Society for Veterinary Immunologists and Biotechnologists. He even received the National Level Visionary Award for Outstanding Achievements in Rabies by Indian Veterinary Association in 2019. Sir, I am very honored for getting the opportunity to introduce and welcome you to this webinar. We thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us. Over to you now, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Spruha. So with this introduction, now I request Dr. Sri Krishna Islur, sir, to deliver his presentation, India's Progressive Towards Surveillance of Animal Rabies and its Control. Dr. Sri Krishna Islur, sir, please.
Good morning to you all. And first of all, I remain highly thankful to you for the elaborate introduction. And in fact, it was really my privilege to be part of this particular session, wherein again, our respected Animal Husbandry Commissioner of Government of India, Dr. Praveen Malik Saab, he's again the chairman. In fact, yesterday evening, we were all together, again, as a part of one of the webinars that was organized by Kerala Veterinary University. It went on for about nearly 1.5 to 2 hours, wherein again, Praveen Malik Saab himself was chairing the same session, and I had the privilege to be associated with this session as the speaker. Let apart. So, my thanks to the organizers, with say, special reference to Dr. Dilip, the respected Dean of a Veterinary College Bidar, or University, KVFSU, and Dr. Arun Kharate, who had been associated with me as far as organizing this particular, say IVSA International Webinar, and the president of this particular say International Veterinary Students Association, Mr. Shashikaran, and would like to remain thankful to you for having given me a chance to be the part of this particular session. As Dr. Praveen Malik Saab rightly put it forth, So most of the times we have been associated with very senior peoples, and it's really energizing, and it's very exciting to be associated with the students. So as a microbiologist, I think definitely I can touch upon certain aspects as far as the viruses are concerned, and then some of the virological aspect of this particular rabies virus, because you're all students. I think definitely there are some good number of participants who are even the faculties, but let apart. Keeping the student community in view, let me just try to share whatever little I know as far as this particular topic on India, progressive towards surveillance of animal rabies, and then its control. So I have been associated with this KVFSUC Rabies Diagnostic Laboratory that was actually set up way back in the 2013. And recently this has been actually designated as the OIE reference laboratory for rabies. And a special thanks to the Department of Animal Husbandry Dairying, Government of India, with reference to Dr. Praveen Malik Saab, and then the Joint Secretary, and then the Honorable Secretary of the Department of Animal Husbandry. May I have the next one, please? Yeah, the disease in rabies, in fact, it doesn't need introduction. But most of you being the students, I think I should surf through some aspects associated with the disease rabies. You know, most of the countries of the Asian continent or African continent, they have been reporting the disease rabies in the animals. And it's important that these dogs are considered to be the major vectors, the primary vectors as far as the transmission of rabies to the human population, as well as the associated animals, with special reference to livestock. And it is not just the dogs which are the primary vectors. So subsequently, there are other say, animals with reference to cats. They are considered to be the second potential vectors for a transmission of rabies to human beings as well as other animals. And needless to mention the role being played by several species of wild animals, fox, jackals, wolf, as well as mongoose. See, the transmission of rabies has actually been documented from such wild carnivores, even in our country, in the neighboring. And the recent increasing the episodes of occurrence of rabies in livestock, especially in case of cattle and buffaloes, this is really a major concern for us. And you know, the primary route of transmission of rabies is through bite. Thank God the rabies virus, it never undergoes aerosolization like influenza virus, and then it is primarily through the bite that the disease is actually transmitted. Next slide, please. What are the signs of rabies in case of animals with reference to dogs or cats? You know, because the virus is primarily going to target the nervous system, with reference to again central nervous system, naturally it leads to some kind of change in the behavior of the animal. Such animals will become very much aggressive. At times they may be very much depressed. And you know, there are two important forms of rabies in case of animals. It can be furious form or the dumb form. In case of a furious form, there is a biting tendency, especially the inanimate objects such as wood or iron, paper, stones or metal, whatever you name it. So such affected dogs will have biting tendency, and they will be unable to eat the foods, and at times they will have a peculiar voice when they actually bark, and profuse salivation also can be seen. And this salivation need not have to be very, very typical, but there are some of the commonly say encountered clinical manifestations of the disease. And most of the times, such of those with animals which actually exhibit such clinical manifestation will succumb to the disease naturally in a span of 10 days. There are some exceptions with respect to the incubation period. Supposing a cattle is actually bitten by a rabid dog at the face itself, then such animals or even the human beings, the young ones, can come down with the disease in a span of just 5 to 6 days, as early as that much. And exceptionally, there are some episodes of occurrence of rabies in human beings wherein the disease was actually exhibited, the symptoms of the diseases were actually exhibited after some 15 to 16 years. Couple of years ago, there was actually a report in the media that an army Jawan from Pune, who was actually exposed to a dog bite, probably some 17 to 18 years, succumbed to the disease very recently. So they are all exceptional cases. Next one, please. Yeah, before I proceed further, as far as the virological aspects of this deadly disease, rabies, is concerned, I just would like to emphasize one very, very important issue, that the virus can be excreted through saliva intermittently, and not only when the animal actually exhibits the clinical manifestation, but even before the exhibition of the clinical manifestations of rabies, around say 7 to 8 days prior to that itself, the virus will be excreted. So this is one alarming situation. So this is why we will have to bring a kind of advocacy among the pet lovers, the general community, not to play with the say oral cavity of for kissing the dogs and then all these issues, because the animal may appear normal, but because of this particular property of excretion of virus, even before the symptoms are exhibited, the virus can be there. So we need to take a decision as far as this particular issue is concerned. Well, coming to the size of microorganisms, generally I wouldn't say emphasize on such issues, because you are all students, you must have some kind of idea how big these viruses are. You know, here you can see this is the size of an eukaryotic cell, which measures in terms of microns up to say 100 microns, and this is the size of a cyanobacterium, and we are all familiar with this E. coli. E. coli measures about say some 2 microns, and then in general the size of these prokaryotic cells can be varying from say 0.2 microns, that is 200 nanometers, up to 10 microns, depending on the shape of the bacteria. Whereas these viruses, they are, as of now, they are actually considered to be the intracellularly existing microbial population. As far as the rabies virus is concerned, this is about say some 180 to some 200 nanometers in size. You know, I'm sure you are all very familiar with the conversions of the measurements. You know, 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters, 1 millimeter is 1000 microns, 1 micron is equivalent to 1000 nanometers. Just imagine the size. You will have to have some kind of imagination as far as the sizes of these different microbial population is concerned. Next one, please. Yeah, why we call this as a rabies virus? Rabies. Actually, in the Western virology textbooks, it is actually documented that rabies etymologically is originating from the term rhabdo. Rhabdo refers to the bullet shape. Say, this is actually the shape of the virus, and then here you can see the typical bullet shape of this virus, and this is what actually they are claiming. Rhabdo stands for bullet shape. But even much before this, some thousands and thousands of years ago, this is actually described, this is very clearly addressed in the Sanskrit documents in our country itself. So that means rabies probably is originated from the Sanskrit terminology, that is rabas. Even in our say local regional language, Kannada also, we refer rabaswag hogta idare, ferocious. Probably the rabies term was evolved etymologically from this rabas, which is actually originated from the Sanskrit language. That is one issue. Then coming to this rabies virus details, this is affiliated to the family Rhabdoviridae, and then the genus is actually Lissa virus, and the virus is actually rabies virus. And let us quickly surf through the structure of this virus. This is actually the electron microscopic appearance of the rabies virus. Please understand, we cannot visualize the individual viral particles even in the fluorescent, best quality fluorescent microscope, which is also available in our laboratory, or needless to mention that we can't visualize these individual rabies viral particles in the student microscope. We can just visualize only the bacteria through some say staining techniques. So this is with respect to the electron microscopic picture. Here you can very clearly appreciate the bullet shape, and this is just the illustration. Please concentrate here. So this is what you are seeing here, this spiral shaped structure. This is actually the nucleoprotein. The nucleoprotein, which is actually abbreviated as N protein, is very, very important for the diagnostic point of view. So all the immunodiagnostics, whether it is DFA, whether it is lateral flow assay, or whether it is direct rapid immunohistochemistry test, which is acronymed as DIRIT, and this DIRIT test is becoming very, very popular across the globe. I will talk to you about this DIRIT after some time. So the monoclonal antibody-based conjugates, which are used in almost all the immunodiagnostics, are targeting this nucleoprotein, because this nucleoprotein is available in this virus in abundance. Then there is, you can see these dumbbell-shaped, yellow-colored entities studded onto the surface of this virus. This is an envelope of the virus. This is an envelope of the virus. And you know the envelope is actually made of the lipid bilayer. On this lipid bilayer are studded these yellow colored proteins of viral origin, they are nothing but glycoproteins. So which actually say acronymed as the G protein. Please remember that the G protein plays very, very important role as far as conferring protection against rabies whenever a host system is immunized against rabies. This is very important. So we have two important proteins. The N protein is of diagnostic importance, whereas G protein is going to constitute the major chunk of the vaccine. If the G protein is of very poor quality, the vaccine may not really trigger the immune system, and then in turn the animal is not really protected. Then we have other proteins, M protein, matrix protein, which actually confers the bullet shape to this. This M protein layer is there underneath this lipid bilayer. Then what is this? P protein, phosphoprotein. This plays very, very important role as far as the movement of rabies viral particles within the nerve cells. You know, the rabies virus is having very high level of neurotropicity. That means this is having high level of binding only with the neurons. It doesn't bind to the skeletal muscles. And then once it is internalized into the cell, then the P protein will help the movement of this rabies virus into the microtubular structures which are going to constitute the cytoskeleton of these susceptible cells. Then we have another protein called polymerase protein, RNA, because this is the enzyme, RNA dependent RNA polymerase. This is the enzyme which is also referred to as L protein, which is very, very important for the replication of the virus inside the cell. You know, this virus, like any other viruses, is totally dependent on the cells, that too with the cells of the nervous tissue origin. May I have the next one, please? Yes, as I said, as far as the pathogenesis is concerned, this is the ligand is the G protein. This is going to go and bind to these several receptors which are located in the neuromuscular junction. Once the animal actually bites, the viruses are locally deposited at the site of injury. Then it will undergo transitory replication in the neuromuscular junction. Then it will enter into the nervous system. Once it gets into the nervous cells, then nothing can be done. That is what we say. Before the virus actually enters into the nervous system, let us eliminate the virus through several procedures, which I think the yesterday's speaker, Dr. Bhosle, would have already told you about the pre-exposure prophylactic vaccination, and then what happens in case some dog is biting an individual in the like category 1, category 2, category 3. I'm not going to touch on those particular aspects. Next one, please. Yeah, I already discussed about it. The role of phosphoprotein in movement of this viral particle within the nerve cell. Next one, please. Yeah, this is with respect to the replication. At no stage of this is just an illustration of the cell, probably a nerve cell, and this is where the rabies virus actually attaches, and then it undergoes replication completely within the cytoplasm. You see, this is actually the nucleus of the infected cell, nerve cell, and this is where you have the rabies virus entering into that, undergoes replication only in the cytoplasm. At no stage of replication of the rabies virus, it enters into the nucleus. This phenomenon we can very well appreciate when we visualize highly positive brain impressions, positive for rabies viral inclusions. There also we can say, hope I am going to show you some of these DFA slides in our lab, wherein at the center of the cell, the brain cell, you don't see any of the rabies viral inclusions. The apple green color fluorescent inclusions cannot be seen because rabies virus never enters into the nucleus of the infected cell, but the cytoplasm of the infected cell would have been studded with star-like appearance of these rabies viral inclusions, which actually take up these FITC dye. Next one, please. Yeah, now with all this, then as far as the diagnosis is actually concerned, you know, as far as the rabies is concerned, the postmortem diagnosis is always emphasized. But here, what kind of diagnostics are we going to pick? Okay, the diagnostic will have to be rapid. It should not be taking very, very long time. But in the process of selection of the diagnostics, which are actually rapid, we should never compromise with the quality of these diagnostics. And it should be cost effective and it should be locally available. Considering these three important criteria of the diagnostics, one can take a call as far as selection of the diagnostics is concerned. Next one, please. Yes, we wanted to strengthen the diagnosis of animal rabies in India. Conventionally, most of the laboratories were involved in diagnosis of rabies in case of animals, irrespective of the species of animals, by employing the cellular staining technique. But there are some limitations of this cellular staining technique. There is a possibility that cellular staining negative can definitely be declared as a positive by DFA. So this is one disease where we cannot take an element of chance to declare actually positive, the real positive case as the false negative. So since the establishment of our KVFSU CVA, CVA actually stands for Commonwealth Veterinary Association Crucial Rabies Diagnostic Laboratory some 7 years ago, we have been playing a major role in the country as far as strengthening of infrastructures of the laboratory for robust diagnosis of animal rabies, in turn strengthening the dog rabies surveillance, not just the dog rabies surveillance, but surveillance of rabies in case of other species of animals also. So the laboratory here, you can just see the picture of the inauguration of this particular laboratory. So our respectful regards to our teacher, our mentor, as well as the presently the executive director of Commonwealth Veterinary Association, and he was actually the former dean of our Veterinary College, Bangalore. He is Professor Abdul Rahman. So he in fact brought this laboratory facility to our country, our college. And thanks to Dr. Yatiraj also, who was the dean of Veterinary College, Bangalore, and with their support, the laboratory was established. And this is a dedicated biosafety level 2 laboratory wherein we handle only the rabies virus. Other than rabies virus, no other microbes are actually handled in this laboratory. And here, this laboratory has got 2 important mandates. One is the virus surveillance, then another is sero surveillance. Virus surveillance is done wherein we keep receiving the brain samples from different parts of the country, and then from different species of animals, including livestock, dogs, cats, then companion animals, as well as the wild animals. First, the samples are actually tested by the lateral flow assay, which is functioning based on the principle of immunochromatography. Then, irrespective of whether the samples are positive or negative, we will have to subject it to monoclonal antibody-based fluorescent antibody technique. This is actually identified to be the gold standard test as per the OIE as well as WHO. I'm going to show you much magnified slides in the subsequent presentation. So then another test which is developed very recently is direct rapid immunohistochemistry test. You see, to visualize the slides of DFA, we must have a quality, highly expensive fluorescent microscope. So whatever the fluorescent microscope we have in our laboratory, it is costing about say 18 to 20 lakh rupees. But how many laboratories can afford to have a quality fluorescent microscope? So in this connection, the CDC Atlanta have developed this particular modified immunohistochemistry test, which actually functions on the principle of ELISA itself and is dependent only on the student microscope, which most of you would have been using in your microbiology practicals. The similar microscope is actually sufficient to visualize the slides of this DIRIT, and there is no difference in the quality of the DIRIT as well as DFA. Now we would like to popularize this. Maybe we'll have to develop this indigenously. Then as a part of our master students or doctoral students at Veterinary College Bangalore or even other veterinary colleges from different parts of India, the molecular epidemiological aspects of this rabies virus lurking in different species in different states is actually taken up. This is with respect to the rabies virus surveillance. Then the other activity is seromonitoring for anti-rabies vaccinal antibodies. See, vaccination is one of the practical methods as far as control of rabies in case of dogs or other animals is actually concerned. But how do you know that the vaccine is really working well? For that purpose, as per the OI guidelines, we have actually developed this virus neutralization test. The version of this virus neutralization test we are employing is RFFIT, which stands for Rapid Fluorescent Focus Inhibition Test. But this test had certain limitation. This takes about 45 hours. Then we must have a highly infectious, virulent international reference strain of rabies virus. You must have the tissue culture facility, and then you must have the expertise, and then you must have the biosafety level laboratory precautions to be employed. How many laboratories can afford to have all these facilities, and then the expertise and then the inputs? And at present, we are employing RFFIT to estimate the anti-rabies vaccinal antibodies in the pet animals with reference to dogs or cats, which are basically meant for international movement. Otherwise, they will not be actually imported into the other country. They will not be permitted to travel to the neighboring countries or other countries. So this is called RFFIT, and we are actually charging to do this, to employ this test. But this cannot be done as a routine part of seromonitoring the mass dog vaccination campaigning programs. But how do we do that? So now we are actually supported by the Department of Biotechnology, Government of India, to develop this quantitative ELISA that could work almost on par with the REFIT. You know how simple ELISA is. Within 3 to 4 hours you can do. No biosafety levels are actually required, and there are several other advantages associated with this. Next one, please. Yeah, this is quickly the glimpse of our laboratory. And this is the -80, the PCR room, and then this is the extension of this PCR room, and this is our core laboratory, and then just the glimpse. Whenever you people get a chance to come down to Veterinary College Bangalore, we are most welcome to visit the lab and then enlighten yourself. Next one, please. Yeah, this is some of our say the senior students working in the lab. This is Dr. Nitin Prabhu, who did his say PhD program on rabies itself a few years ago in this lab. Some of the activities in the lab. Yeah, next one. Yeah, this is just the magnified version of the DFA. We can see this brain tissue takes red coloration because of Evans blue counter stain. And then can you see this one neuronal cell here? Here you have one, here you have one, then other one is here. And this is actually studied with rabies viral inclusion. You see each of the these green spots, it can be an aggregated mass of some 50 rabies viral particles, or 100 or 200 or even more than that. More the number of viral particles in the aggregated mass, bigger the size of these viral inclusions. And here we are using the monoclonal anti-N protein antibodies conjugated with FITC. We purchased that quality immunodiagnostics, the conjugate, and absolutely there is no iota of doubt in declaring this brain impression to be positive for rabies. And here we can see how the negative actually appears. So this is pure just the brain impression without any say green color the viral inclusions. Okay. So this is actually yet another positive, and this is again positive. So this is what I was talking to you about. So this is probably the nucleus, and nucleus is never entered by these rabies viral particles, and it's only in the cytoplasm. And invariably in our virology classes, we use such a slides for teaching purposes. So here also you can see, this is one a neuronal head. At the center, there are no viral inclusions, but periphery is completely occupied by these rabies viral inclusions. And this is because at no stage of replication of virus, it enters into the nucleus. May I have the next one, please? Yeah, this is about the DFA. I'll be served through this. This is what I was talking to you about, this DIRIT, direct rapid immunohistochemistry test. Whatever the red colored inclusions you see, they are counterparts of these, whatever the green colored viral inclusions you see in case of DFA. This is much safer, and ordinary laboratory facility, like whatever UG students are actually doing the practicals as a part of their virology classes or microbiology practicals, such facility is sufficient to carry out the DIRIT test. And this is what we are going to popularize. And CDC is actually having these conjugates, and then we are also in the pipeline to develop our own indigenous DIRIT kit in the days to come. This is yet another this DIRIT slide. You can see the complete neuron here single, and there are two huge sized rabies viral inclusions, and then nevertheless you can see some tiny rabies viral inclusions as well. And this is very clear cut positive case of rabies. This is about the preliminary testing by lateral flow assay, and then if it is positive, you will end up in seeing 2 lines, and if it is negative, you will end up seeing in single line. This test has become so popular thanks to Professor Dr. Gyanendra Gongal from WHO CRO, who are purchasing this quality immunodiagnostics from South Korea, and then they are shipped our laboratory. We are in the process of validating this preliminary test in comparison with the DFA. So far, we are very, very comfortable, and the test can be completed just in a span of some 10 to 15 minutes maximum. And our trainees, whosoever is undergoing training in our laboratory, we pass on these LFA kits to them. They take them back to their respective places. Even laboratory conditions are not required. Whenever any carcass is presented, just by the side of carcass itself, the test can be done, and then the decision can be taken whether the animal is actually positive or negative. But as of now, the LFA can be done only as a preliminary test, not as a confirmatory test. And that is the reason why we actually insist our trainees to ship all the brain samples, irrespective of whether it is positive or negative by this LFA, to our lab. Then only we take a final call once the DFA test is done. Next slide. Yeah, this is the similar picture. You can see one more. It's a long neuron here studded with the rabies viral inclusions. Next one. Whatever the blue colors you see, they're all the nerve cells. Okay, thank you. Yeah, further, please proceed. Yeah, further, this particular rabies diagnosis leading to this effective rabies surveillance in animals in India is concerned. This was strengthened because of this OIE twinning program. You know, OIE actually conventionally was standing for Office of International Epizooties, but now it is actually represented as World Organization for Animal Health to make it on par with the World Health Organization. And this is where we are located here in Karnataka, in the southern part of India. We were considered to be the candidate laboratory. Then we were supported. We were extensively trained by two important Are you able to hear me? I think there is some power fluctuation here. Dr. Karate?
Yes, sir. There is no issue, sir. Please
Okay.
proceed. Your voice is very clear, sir.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Karate. In case there is any problem, please call me to my mobile itself.
Okay, sir. We will take care. Please proceed, sir.
Because since morning there is no power here, and then it is totally supported by the diesel generator set. Please call me to my mobile in case there is any problem, Dr. Karate.
Okay, we will take care, sir. Please proceed.
Sorry for this kind of interruption, and let us proceed further. So this is as a part of OI twinning program. We were trained by these two parent laboratories, and we had also a chance to visit these two OI reference laboratories in UK as well as the USA. The team had also visited our laboratories several times to train the veterinary faculty, veterinarians from the field in our country. As a part of this, we have developed this kind of animal rabies diagnostic facilities in the country, and this is really strengthening the animal rabies surveillance in the country. And soon we are going to confer training as far as strengthening the animal rabies surveillance in the neighboring countries as a part of this OI reference laboratory. Next one, please. Yeah, this is what I was talking to, and then the respected Animal Husbandry Commissioner was also making a remark about this OI reference laboratory. Recently, in the month of June itself this year, the laboratory was actually elevated to the status of OI reference laboratory for rabies, and this is a major milestone, and this is one of the major culmination of this OI training program. And as a part of this, now expectations from this laboratory is immense to cater to the requirement of a scientific excellence as well as technical inputs to the South Asian region as well as the Southeast Asian countries. Maybe we will have to provide the expertise to as well as undertaking training for nearly 18 countries veterinary faculties, and we are literally working on the war footing to reach this expectation from the global fraternity, at least from the OIE. And as a part of this, in the first week of November itself, we are going to have a OIE virtual training series programs on rabies for diagnosis of rabies in case of animals for the SARC region. Next one, please. May I have the next slide, please? Okay, there you are. Yes, we have a very good technical expertise available in the country. We have the diagnostics available, but what is necessary to employ these diagnostics? We must have the increased inflow of quality brain samples, because you know post-mortem confirmation of the diagnosis is always reliable, not the antemortem diagnosis of the disease. I will discuss with you in case the time is available why antemortem diagnosis is not foolproof, but all the time we are employing this post-mortem approaches for confirmatory diagnosis of rabies. Here we have actually undertaken series of training programs for our veterinarians from urban areas as well as the rural areas by employing the simple user-friendly occipital foramen based brain sample collection. Here you can see that. Maybe if the time permits, I'm going to share the videos of the collection of the brainstem through this occipital foramen method. And this particular method is very, very simple. Say, when we were all undergraduate students, just like most of you, some 30-35 years ago, we did not have a privilege to get exposed to all these kinds of techniques. In our pathology classes, especially in the practical hours, we were all exposed to the collection of hippocampus, the brain sample for rabies diagnostic purposes, by opening the complete skull cap. You need to break open the skull cap at this region. You know this. And this is very laborious process, needs a lot of expertise, and probably this is one of the reasons why the veterinarians in the field may have some kind of concern, may have some kind of hesitation to open this through this cumbersome process and then collect the brain sample and then ship it. And this is one of the reasons the brain sample were not being shipped until recently to the laboratory for confirmatory diagnostic procedures. This limitation is effectively overcome by conducting series of training programs on collection of brainstem through this simple method. In the next slide, I'm going to elaborate much more on this. And then in case the carcass is slightly putrefied, you may have to introduce this AI sheath, which is available in the veterinary dispensaries, even at the rural areas. Pass it through that. Even if the brain sample is slightly putrefied, no issues. You can suck it with the help of this disposable syringe. You get so much of partially putrefied brain sample, and then you can definitely ship it to the laboratory. But please remember, putrefied brain tissues are unfit to be tested by DFA. But nevertheless, we can employ this lateral flow assay technique, which is very simple and as good as the DFA. And we are yet to take a call on that to be totally dependent on this LFA, because the kits are being validated as of now in comparison with its performance with the DFA. But definitely we can go for this polymerase chain reaction, even if the samples are putrefied. Samples are very, very precious. So we cannot get the samples by paying money. Whereas these conjugates and all the diagnostics, even if we lose them, we can make the payment and then we can procure them. But that is not the case with the samples. So samples are much more precious. And then please take care of collection of the samples properly, pack them properly, and ship them to the nearest rabies diagnostic laboratory strictly in the cold chain. But there is one person in between, that is the courier persons. Nowadays, the courier persons, they are little hesitant to collect the biological samples because of various other reasons. But here we need to convince the courier persons that we are going to pack them properly without any biosafety hazards issues, and then this we are in the process of. But a good number of our veterinarians would not have got a chance to undergo training in our laboratory, and this is where we get connected to them through these WhatsApp video calls, and then we can see them doing all the activities, collection of the brainstem from the field. And then we also pass on these instructions through this WhatsApp video. I'm going to show you a very interesting slide in the next thing. Before that, to make all these kits available locally, they have to be cost effective without compromising with the quality, and they have to be really user friendly for the field level veterinarians. We are in the process of developing these indigenous. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is how to locate this foramen magnum. You know, this is actually the skull. This is where one has to put an incision. And this is the first cervical vertebrae. This is also called the atlas. And these are the wings of atlas. This is the dorsal view. This is the wings of the atlas. So you can, in an animal, in a carcass, you can definitely feel with the help of the fingers. So you can feel the this transverse processes of the atlas. Then just anterior to this, we need to put an and cut it. Straight away you can land into the occipital foramen, and then you can very clearly see the brainstem. Maybe I'm going to show that what is the relevance of this. Why it is called atlas? You know about atlas in the mythology, that he literally lifted the globe, and the name of that particular character was atlas. And here the first cervical vertebra is really supporting the skull of that particular animal, and hence the name atlas to that particular cervical vertebra. Okay. Once this methodology is employed, you collect the brain tissues. Packing is very, very important. This is primary container. This is then a secondary container, and then this is the tertiary container. But strictly ship this into the cold chain to the laboratory, and put one biohazardous emblem there, and then one has to provide strictly the mobile numbers of the recipient as well as the person who is going to receive this. Next one, please. Yeah, I'm sure all of you have seen this movie, great movie, 3 Idiots. You know, in fact, I have seen it more than 3 times because I was really inspired by this particular movie. But what is the context? What is the relevance of this 3 Idiots movie to this particular session? I'm sure you remember this particular, clippings as far as that movie is concerned. The heroine of the movie, she actually, through Skype, she gives instructions to the hero of that movie how he can carry out the delivery of the lady. Okay, the similar approach we have also employed here, but here we are actually supporting the delivery of the brainstem. Next one, please. Through WhatsApp video connectivity, even such of those who did not have a chance to undergo training in our laboratory. So here in our laboratory, we can just catch hold of somebody to mimic as the host, and then I just show them how to put an incision at this region, and then the person, he's our own veterinarian who is from Udupi, and then I'm able to see him clearly sitting in our rabies diagnostic laboratory, and he's able to see all the instructions that our team is actually passing on. Here you can see in my mobile itself, so clearly we can see such a big chunk of a brainstem being collected by him for the first time. And then I can visualize and ensure that once the collection is done, the carcass will have to be disposed properly, employing all the biosafety precautions. Next one, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, we have conducted series of national level training programs. Here you can see the interactive session between our team as well as the team from the CDC as well as the APHA. Here you have some glimpse of the DFA training being conferred by the expert from CDC, and then I have my colleagues here, and this is our complete team. And this is during one of the training programs that was conducted in the first quarter of this year itself. We have our colleagues, Dr. Sharda, she's the quality manager, professor and head of the microbiology department, and Dr. Kavita, who is a senior PhD scholar. As a part of our PhD program, we are planning to develop some of the indigenous kits. And then we have Mr. Dilip, our technical manager, and he takes care of all the technical issues and all the participants. And this is the activity as far as RNA extraction going on in the core laboratory. And then this is the picture that we have captured during the training program that was conducted in Shimoga Veterinary College. I'm sure Dr. Karate was also there at that point of time. Collection of brainstem, and then the ladies are really going very strong nowadays. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have gone the training program, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So here you can see,
yes,
the lady team is completely busy collection of the brainstem through the Occipital Foramen method. So what I would like to emphasize is, through this training program, we are infusing a lot of confidence among our field level veterinarians or the veterinarians working in the rabies diagnostic laboratory, so that they should not think twice to collect the brainstem and then undertake the testing. But what I request all the field veterinarians is, please get yourself immunized. We have pre-exposure, we undergo that so that you are well protected. You can get your serum sample tested, that just to ensure that you are really protected through having this titer of antibodies minimum 0.5. Next one, please. Next slide, please. It is not only the training that we are providing in our laboratory. Depending on the need, and whenever some different types of national workshops are conducted in different parts of the country or different union territories, our team, we actually approach there, and then we strengthen the local teams, so that they should be able to develop the diagnostic facilities in the respective state itself. This is what we are very much into. Next one, please. Yeah, this is just a glimpse of our trainees in the field who are doing wonderful work. They are collecting the brain samples in the field and then doing the testing in the field itself, just by the side of the carcass. Here you can see the brainstem being collected from a horse by one Dr. Prashanta Boro. He's a assistant professor and has undergone training whenever our team was there in Assam. And then here you can see collection of brainstem from sheep and then dogs and then from other species. Next one, please. Diagnosis is done just by the side of the carcass using this preliminary test, LFA. Next one, please. Yeah, as far as the incidence is concerned, nowadays it's really alarming that it is increasing in the dogs. As far as the occurrence of rabies is concerned, on an average, about 75% of the dog brains that we are processing in our laboratory by DFA are found to be clearly positive for rabies. And it is not just in case of dogs, even cats are also there. But much more, worry is that rabies in case of cattle and buffaloes, this is also being reported. This is really affecting the economy. This is what was actually addressed in the inaugural address by Dr. Malik also. And because a poor farmer who is maintaining his family in the village areas by rearing just 1 or 2 milking cows or buffaloes is totally dependent on them. See, we have a practice of letting these livestock out for grazing, and you don't know when such dairy animals were exposed to the rabid dog or any of the rabid wild animal because of their sneaking into the forest areas. You know, sylvatic cycle of rabies is also lurking in the country. We have also tested the brain samples of some of the wild animals and were found to be really positive. This is one major issue. This is an alarming situation. That is why we are actually recommending the government of India. That's what even Dr. Malik Saab was also referring in his inaugural address. Maybe we will have to think of undertaking a pre-exposure prophylactic vaccination in cattle as well as buffaloes. Next one, please. As I said, please, next one, please. I have some more say, pictures in the same slide. Next one, please. Yeah. Okay, next one, please. No, just please get back to the previous. It's okay. This is one wolf head that we received from Munirabad way back in the 2012 or 2013. They didn't know how to collect the brain sample. This had sneaked into the villages and had beaten some 14 ladies very badly, and then several cattle and cows were actually bitten by this wolf. And we were say communicated by the local veterinarian. And then we suggested, because they did not have a chance to ship the carcass, and they didn't know how to collect the brain sample also, and were also of little concern because this was suspected to be a case of rabies. Then I suggested them to decapitate the head, because we didn't want to miss the sample at any cost. Then the head was actually shipped to our laboratory. Then we did collect the brain stem, and then did a DFA, PCR, LFA, DRIT, was found to be highly positive by all the tests that we had applied. Then immediately all the ladies, they were all subjected to post-exposure prophylactic vaccination. They were admitted to KIMS in Hubli, and thank God they were all safe. This is one heart-touching episode of an elephant by name Rani. This occurred just very recently, just a couple of years ago. This is actually a baby elephant. And in this picture, you can see actually on 15th October 2018, they celebrated the 8th year of this particular female baby elephant. Unfortunately, the animal was actually carrying rabies virus at this particular point of celebration of its birthday. Within 15 days of this, the animal succumbs to rabies, and it exhibited some of the symptoms, and then the local people couldn't diagnose this. A veterinary expert from Nepal had to fly down to this Bihar in Samastipur, and then he diagnosed it. And then subsequently, the brain samples were actually shipped to our laboratory. We did the DFA, and then all the tests was found to be clearly positive for rabies. By then, some 30 to 35 people had actually handled the oral cavity with this, and then immediately they were all subjected to post-exposure vaccination, and then they are all safe. Likewise, we have episodes of wildlife rabies in different states in the country. Next one, please. This is on a fascinating area, that molecular epidemiology. Next one, please. Here we are targeting N gene as well as the G gene for diagnostic purposes. Next slide, please. May I have the next slide, please? Yeah, this is about the molecular epidemiological investigations. And based on the complete G gene amplification sequencing, we find that there are two major clusters. A small cluster of viruses, and then this is the bigger cluster of rabies viruses lurking in different species of animals in India. Next one, please. And even based on complete N gene also, we find the similar profile. That means based on the complete N gene as well as the G gene, we couldn't differentiate the rabies viruses lurking in different parts of India. This is very, very interesting. The GL intergenic sequence base. Next one, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is what we could generate this based on the dendrogram, based on the molecular profiling of the rabies virus between the G gene and L gene. There's a small stretch of nucleotide sequences, about 428 nucleotides, long stretch. Based on that, we could generate this phylogenetic analysis based dendrogram. And it's interesting that we got some cat brains samples from Manipur, which was very closely related to those reported from Bangladesh. And then we got some buffalo brains positive for rabies. And this rabies virus was genetically found to be related to those rabies viruses reported from Pakistan. And then we have two more clusters. So ultimately, we came to the conclusion, even this conclusion was also supported based on the available literatures in the past, that you see, this is actually Brahmaputra River. Brahmaputra River almost separates the northeastern part of India from the mainland. And probably the rabies virus is lurking here itself. This is a major natural barrier for the diseased animals or diseased dogs to come to the mainland. Then what is this barrier? This is actually the Himalayan range. This Himalayan range almost separates the Jammu Kashmir from rest of the mainland India. And there is actually a porous border here. Okay, so probably that is the reason why we are finding evolution of viruses to particular geographic location because of presence of such a natural barrier. This is one very, very important finding in our laboratory as a part of the thesis of one Dr. Praveen. Next one, please. Yeah, as far as shipping the gene sample for molecular purposes is concerned, say sometimes you may not be having access to the cold chain, and then sometimes you may not be having access to the courier services. What we suggest in those cases, we have what are called these FTA cards. FTA cards are actually available, and you can take a brain suspension, make a suspension, and put a drop of this on these cards, and then this can be say shipped just like an ordinary post, no cold chain, nothing. Just in an envelope, you can put these FTA cards on which you have already impregnated this brain suspension, and then it can be shipped to the laboratory and let it take weeks together, no problem. But such brain samples cannot be tested for DFA or DRIT, but we can definitely test them by PCR. This is one major advantage of transportation of specimens even at ambient temperature without any biohazardous precautions by using these FTA cards. Next one. Yeah, this is as far as the serum monitoring is concerned. I already made a surfing remark about it. ELISA being done, and this is what we did in BBMP, Brihat Bangalore Mahanagar Palike, Bangalore Municipal Corporation. As far as application of RFA patent ELISA is concerned, we found that only about say 50% of the vaccinated free roaming or the stray dogs or the street dogs were found to be protected. What about the remaining 50%? Now that the country is actually going to implement this National Action Plan for Rabies Elimination very soon, maybe in a couple of months from now, as the respected Animal Husbandry Commissioner had put forth, we will have to adopt the sero monitoring mechanisms at least on few selected vaccinated, say the serum sample from the vaccinated dogs, just to check whether the vaccination program is actually going on successfully or not. This is something similar to what we did a couple of these say decades ago with respect to national project for rinderpest eradication. There also the tissue culture rinderpest vaccination was done. Then after vaccination, just to check the efficacy of a vaccination program, selected number of serum samples were collected from the vaccinated cattle, and then they were subjected to the monoclonal antibody based competitive ELISA, and then we took a decision whether the vaccination program is going on effectively or not. Next one, please. Yeah, this is what just for the, this is a dedicated slide for the sake of our students. This is what we are doing in case of RAPID. Can you see all these apple green color fluorescing foci? They're all the international reference strain of rabies virus. And what you see the red color here, they're all the BHK21 cell lines. We are using BHK21 cell lines for the RFID purpose. So this is what you see in case of BHK21 cell line when we infect it with the reference strain, Dr. Lurgis strain of rabies virus. Next one, please. Next one, please. Yeah, this is a DFA of uninfected BHK21 cell line. This is just a healthy cell line where you see the fibroblasts of a baby hamster kidney cell line. This is not infected. We can make out the difference between the infected cell line and the uninfected cell line. Next one. Yeah, so with all these tools available, say success stories are there in certain pockets at the global level as far as elimination of rabies is concerned. Here we have the list of the countries where the certain pockets were found to be free from rabies. But what are the two common activities implemented by these countries in these pockets? One is the effective rabies surveillance mechanism, then institution of mass dog vaccinations. Next one. Next slide. Yeah, so these strategies with all the available resources, even in our country, with our rabies diagnostic laboratory playing a pivotal role at the national level as well as at the regional level, we need to be working on a war footing for further extending this effective rabies surveillance in the animals. Then this is going to be the basis for implementing the mass dog vaccination program, so that minimum 70% of the dog population in the country will have to be covered under this mass dog vaccination program. Next one. Yeah, but the science of vaccinology is very much different in case of animals. It is very much a dynamic entity, because varied species are to be covered. Type of small animals are also different. Then availability of the vaccine, that could be an issue at times. Then what are the different methods of vaccination? Development of the herd immunity again differs from species to species. But as far as this National Action Plan for Rabies Elimination is concerned, we have to primarily be focusing on the dog. So what I mean to say, there are regional differences. Even Asian continent is also different from the Western countries as far as such programs are concerned. Next one. Yeah, there are varied guidelines which are being followed across the globe as far as vaccination in case of pet animals references to dogs is concerned. But most of the veterinarians in the Asian countries, they are following this WSABA guidelines. WSABA stands for World Small Animal Veterinary Association. Next one. As per the WSABA guidelines, the puppies are to be given the first shot when they actually complete the 3 months. That means on the 12th week of their age. And then provide the first booster after 4 weeks of the first shot. Then if the area is in an endemic area, then annual vaccinations are actually advisable. This is in general, it is practiced. But we have been coming across several cases of rabies in case of pups which are less than 3 months. So it is also, a thought is also on, why not we just advance the vaccination in case of pups by 1 month? That means take up the vaccination in case of pups when they are just 2 months old, or would have just completed the 2nd month of their age. So because we do not have any kind of idea with respect to the persistence of the maternally derived antibodies. So unless that is done, so it is really risky to take up the vaccination at later stages. We are yet to come up with a policy as far as advancing the vaccination in case of pups to the 8th week instead of 12 weeks is concerned. Next one, please. Yeah. So we have different categories of dogs. It is not just the domesticated dogs. We have the free roaming dogs. We have the semi-owned dogs. We have the community dogs. Likewise. So these parental vaccinations can be done with respect to completely owned dogs or the pet dogs, because the owner will have to take care of it. But what about the free roaming dogs or the stray dogs? At times they are semi-owned or they are totally abandoned and there is no owner. They are totally free roaming dogs or the free ranging dogs. How to catch them? See, catching the dogs is a big issue. Nevertheless, the municipal corporations in different urban cities, they are taking they are actually striving hard to catch these dogs, but it is really a Herculean task to catch a dog. Vaccination is no problem, but who is going to catch the dogs? So to overcome this limitation of catching the dogs, especially these free roaming dogs, the issue of using the oral bait vaccine is discussed a lot and is talked of much of late. Even in the series of webinars being organized as a part of this World Rabies Day internationally, the oral, much of the presentations are being made and a lot of emphasis is being made. Even this morning, even respected Animal Husbandry Commissioner, he also emphasized on this to explore the possibility of using this oral bait vaccine. In fact, in Goa also the Mission Rabies has done a good job. They have taken up a trial with respect to the bait, but that bait did not have the virus. They just wanted to check whether such baits are actually acceptable to the free roaming dogs or not. I think we will have to take a serious call as far as using this oral bait vaccine for large scale coverage of the vaccination in the dog population in the country. Next one, please. Of course, these oral bait vaccines have been used in Western countries primarily to control the sylvatic cycle of rabies in the wild animals. The other vaccination strategy is intradermal vaccination. In case of human beings, especially the risk group people like you and me, we will have to undergo this vaccination. But conventionally, the intramuscular vaccination was done, wherein completely the vial having about 1 ml of volume of vaccine is to be administered intramuscularly into the risk group people, whether for especially for pre-exposure prophylactic vaccination. But for human victims who have been bitten by the suspected cases of rabid dogs, they will have to be subjected to post-exposure prophylactic vaccination. We have discussed about it yesterday. Let me not get into that particular issue. So what is the major advantage of this intradermal vaccination? Nearly 1/8 or 1/10 of the dose or volume of the vaccine which is required to be administered through intramuscular is sufficient to be providing the same amount of immunity. Here, remember, we cannot compromise with the quality of the immune system. We cannot compromise with the immune system. Same level of protection will have to be conferred by adopting this intradermal vaccination, wherein we are going to use the 1/10 of the dose required for the intramuscular administration. This is a major advantage, and we are also discussing why not we employ this intradermal route of vaccination for a pre-exposure prophylactic vaccination strategy for our cattle and buffalo, which can be handled comfortably, which can be friendly. In fact, one of the postgraduate students in the medicine department in our Veterinary College Bangalore, she has taken up this as a part of her say master's thesis, wherein the clinical trials are on, especially in case of dogs, as far as the intradermal vaccination is concerned. Nowadays, several research programs are also on, wherein the DNA vaccines, the mRNA vaccines, the plant-based vaccines, as well as thermostable vaccines are there. But these vaccines are yet to find the limelight. Next one, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, here you can see the one post-bite victim. So I really appreciate his enthusiasm. See, he's smiling instead of crying. Can you see this elevation, a bleb? Once the intradermally the vaccine is delivered, such a bleb must appear, which is a very clear indication of a successful vaccination. Next one. All of us in our laboratory, we are all undergoing pre-exposure prophylactic vaccination as well as booster only through the intradermal vaccination. Then nowadays, even veterinarians in the field, because of the risk of these animals coming down with rabies because of being bitten by a rabid dog or any other rabid wild carnivore, pre-exposure vaccinations are also done. So here you can see the picture of cattle being subjected to vaccination. Recently, there were actually episodes of occurrence of rabies in livestock in Assam. And in the previous picture, you could see the elephants are being vaccinated to confer protection against rabies. With all this, see, several of our postgraduate students, our PhD students who are doing very good work in the field, why not we avail their expertise? They're all masters with reference to animal rabies as a part of their thesis work. They're all doing very good work in the field, and we are trying to involve them into our network, into our loop of the manpower, which is very important in India to institute suitable dog rabies surveillance mechanism as well as institution of disease control programs. Next one. Next slide. Next one. Yeah, let us encourage the ground level warriors who are all involved in working so hard at the ground level. You're all familiar with the corona warriors who have done wonderful work as far as containing this COVID-19 is concerned. Likewise, why not we respect our frontline warriors? And instead of using the term dog catchers, why not we respect them as human animal handlers? Using such a terminology itself has made a revolutionizing success in the state of Sikkim. Next one. Yeah, awareness is very, very important. We'll have to bring a lot of awareness among the community. And here we have also established this Zero Rabies helpline in Bangalore. We, in the sense, the Bangalore Municipal Corporation, in association with the technical support from missionaries from Goa as well as our veterinary college, we need to educate people to make the best use of this. And then several guidelines have been issued by government that whenever the pet lovers, they take their pets outside, they will have to strictly put a leash, and then please safeguard them with the mouth guard. In case they are having the biting tendency, they should not end up in biting someone else who is also there in the public areas. And let us involve these say celebrities in say popularizing our rabies control programs as well as see, because we are all technocrats, the general public or the community, they hardly listen to us. Any I think when Mr. Shivananda is to mute his audio. Shivananda Kanshi, please mute your audio.
Shivananda Kanshi.
May I have the next one, please? So let us involve celebrities to popularize these programs. Yeah, there are different sources of funding, and this may not be really necessary for the students to go through. Even we need to involve these corporate sectors under the corporate social responsibilities, because they are going to, one of the mandates of these corporates is to bring change in the lives of the people. Next one, please. Yeah, as the Animal Husbandry Commissioner had again addressed, 4 important organizations internationally have come together and they have united against rabies in collaboration. Next one. Yeah, WHO, FAO, as well as Global Alliance for Rabies Control. You know, this World Rabies Day was actually started by this Global Alliance for Rabies Control. In fact, our Rabies Diagnostic Laboratory at Veterinary College Bangalore, this is the GARC. GARC stands for Global Alliance for Rabies Control office in the country. And they started this. The first World Rabies Day was actually observed in the year 2007. And what we have observed just day before yesterday, that is the 14th World Rabies Day to commemorate the 125th death anniversary of the great scientist Louis Pasteur. Next one. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is actually the impact of mass vaccination programs in different countries. Here you can see in the country that Mexico, as the dog rabies declined, the human rabies also declined parallelly. So it's important that we institute measures and implement the rabies control programs primarily in dogs, because they're all functioning parallelly. Reduction in the dog rabies resulted in significant reduction in the cases of human rabies. Next one. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is what you see in the success stories in Sri Lanka. As the mass vaccination increased in the dog population, please get back to the previous slide. There was a significant reduction in the human rabies cases that was observed even in Sri Lanka. So with all these inputs, we have this National Action Plan for Rabies Elimination, and the draft is almost ready. Within a couple of months from now, this National Action Plan for Rabies Elimination is going to be launched in India. Major component in the animal health component is at least 70% of the vaccination coverage will have to be done. It's okay, we have already completed that. Here you can see the reduction in the cases of rabies in case of human beings. Please go to the next one. This is what you see is increasing the dog vaccinations over a period of years, several years. Next slide. Yeah, this is where we were. And the important changes that we have brought in this NAPRE is we are going to have all the government veterinarians, even up to the village level, in the loop of this animal health component. Because see, most of the NGOs, they are functioning only in the urban areas. And India is represented to the tune of nearly 70% by the villages. Who is going to take decisions as far as control of rabies or a collection of brain samples in the field is concerned? But our veterinary dispensaries are deeply rooted even up to the grassroots level of the country, and we are going to involve the government veterinary manpower as far as the animal health component of this NAPRE is concerned. Next one. Yeah, as far as the NAPRE is concerned, we are planning for the mass dog vaccination, and a provision is also made in this NAPRE document to explore the possibility of using oral rabies vaccine with a special reference to control of rabies in case of free roaming dogs. Next one. Next one, please. Yeah, this is what, again, in the NAPRE, this is the kind of the surveillance mechanism that we have proposed. Block level brain samples are collected at the village level. Then at a district level, this lateral flow assay will have to be done. Then at the state level, the confirmatory tests such as DFA, DREAT, PCR can be done. Further molecular characterization of the virus can be done in the regional laboratories. Then final call will be taken at the National Reference Laboratory. And then the data will be disseminated to the Department of Animal Husbandry Dairying to Dr. Praveen Malik Saab's office. Next one. Yeah, another important chunk that is necessary for proper coordination is the intersectoral coordination. You see, so many players are there in this rabies. So medical professionals are there, veterinary professionals are there, Animal Welfare Board of India is there, Department of Environment, Urban Affairs, Waste Management, as well as the vaccine manufacturers. So all of us have to have a proper coordination to assess the current status of rabies control activities, and then to take a final call. How is that each of the stakeholder will have to be complementary to each other. Let us not overlap each other's mandates, but let us be complementary to each other's mandate. Because all of us have a common goal of eliminating rabies from India as far as the dog-mediated human rabies is concerned. Next. Next one. Yeah, with all this, so it is necessary that we have to have a quality animal rabies vaccine. There is a mechanism called pre-qualification of animal anti-rabies vaccine for human beings. But as far as OIE is concerned, the OIE has established as well as it is maintaining the intergovernmental standards for the manufacturers of the dog vaccines. Maybe we will have to evolve a mechanism for having a similar system for animal rabies vaccines also. Next. Yeah, there are certain precautions for the pet owners. I think it's very clearly mentioned there. Maybe it is not necessary for me to go through all that. I'm going to share this PPT to all of you because I think we are almost there at, it's actually 12 noon by my watch, rather it's past at 12 noon. Maybe I can share, say, some of the videos, and I suggest you to go through this. There are certain precautions which strictly the pet owners will have to follow so that they do not pick up the infection from their, say, pets. Next one. Because some of the pet owners, they love their animals so that they start licking, they allow the pets to lick their say hands, and supposing there is a small injury on the hand, and in case the saliva of that pet animal is already harboring the virus, then there is a possibility of transmission of the disease. And certain guidelines have also been issued by the government for the pet owners, what kind of minimal precautions they will have to take when they take their pets out of home for the walking or other say purposes. There are guidelines issued for the various resident welfare associations as well as the apartment owners association, and there is a possibility that the pet owners can be penalized in case they do not keep their pets on leash whenever they go outside, or in case they start biting the others. So one has to take a call as well as be cautious while maintaining the pets. And nevertheless, let us love the animals, but let us take care of them in the interest of the society. Next one, please. Next one. Yeah, next one. This is the similar information. Guidelines for resident welfare associations as well as apartment owners association. Next one. Next slide, please. Yeah, there are certain guidelines which have been issued from Animal Welfare Board of India. And then how to avoid getting bitten. What I request all the say student series, please pass on the information to the general public. Either maybe you can have some sessions in the schools or any other say Rotary clubs or Lions Club, whosoever is getting a chance. So we just request them to pass on the information that one should never trigger the dogs. Okay, never provoke or share or chase or throwing the stones at any dogs or animal and then provoke them. Avoid kissing the animals. Then better to avoid interacting with the strange animals. Like these kind of information will have to be passed on to the general public for their own benefit. Next one. And then what we have to do, supposing probably say some of these issues have been discussed in the yesterday's session itself, what you will have to do in the category 1 exposure, category 2, category 3. But whenever you come across any such cases, please contact the Zero Rabies helpline if it is there in your city. Next one. And encourage the students, or rather the children especially to, you will have to strictly encourage the children to bring you the information of their parents or guardians in case they are exposed to the dogs. Because there are episodes of some of the young school boys dying of rabies because they were bitten by these dogs. But out of a fear, they did not inform it to their parents, thinking that they could be scolded by their parents. Please encourage the children and especially the primary school children. Next one. And then the take-home message is, one has to be very familiar with the clinical manifestations of the disease. And then immunization is to be strictly adopted. And then all the time, the general public will have to cooperate with the municipal corporation for the vaccination purposes or the dog population management or even for rabies surveillance mechanisms. And then let them make the best use of this Zero Rabies helpline. And then community dog feeders, as well as the caretakers, they should ensure that they get all the dogs sterilized as well as the vaccinated. This is very important issue. So that the indiscriminate breeding of the dogs is actually totally discouraged. Let us license these dogs. Let us encourage the adopting of dogs, and then they can maintain the dogs. We have so many animal lovers. That is what we request the animal lovers through you all, so that the dogs should be licensed. Let them adopt it. Let them license it. Let them register in their respective civic bodies, and then take care of the health of these pets. Next one. Yeah, this is in continuation, the same issues. Keep away from the stray animals as well as the wild animals, not to take an iota of chance with that. Because remember, wild is always wild. Do not bring these wild animals home and then put yourself into the risk. Next one, please. Yeah. We are all veterinarians. And there is only one success story in the animal sector as far as control and successful eradication of the disease is concerned, that is rinderpest. In the year 2011, under this global rinderpest eradication program, which is actually known as GREP, this rinderpest, the deadly disease of cattle, was actually declared eradicated through the effective mass immunization by using the tissue culture rinderpest vaccine. And let all the veterinarians take a credit for this. Let us pat our own back for contributing so significantly to eradicate, for having played a major role in eradication of this deadly disease rinderpest from the world itself. And now it is high time for all the veterinarians along with other stakeholders to join our hands together and then eradicate the second deadliest disease of not just the animal, the veterinary importance, but also of a zoonotic importance. Maybe shall we take a pledge that we will be responsible for elimination of this? You are all students. This is the best time for you to get yourself inspired and then enrich your knowledge. And then what I request you all, please have the attitude of never give up. Whatever you do, have patience, have perseverance, have the attitude of giving something back to the society. In turn, we are going to strengthen. You please contribute whatever. It is possible through effective collaboration among all the stakeholders, through mass immunization of dogs, which are actually the primary vectors as far as the transmission of rabies to human beings as well as other animals is concerned. And it is possible. And on this occasion, so our team, so here, and then you can see Dr. Ratnamma, she is heading the Department of Microbiology. She is also the biosafety officer. Then other participants, she is the quality manager of this lab. As I already mentioned, this is Mr. Dilip, our PhD scholar. She is planning this, Dr. Adya. And on behalf of us, on behalf of the team, we thank you all once again and offer our respectful salutations to the great scientist Louis Pasteur, in whose memory we are actually commemorating the 125th death anniversary as the 14th World Rabies Day. Thank you all on this occasion. Special thanks to the organizers with reference to Dr. Dilip Kumar, the Dean, my colleague and good friend, Dr. Arun Kharate, and the President of International Veterinary Students Association, who really took a lot of event. Thank you so much, all the organizers, for your patient hearing. Now the presentation is over. Shashikiran, are you there? Yeah, now I think Dr. Kharate, do I have some time to quickly surf through the videos that we have captured in our laboratory or in the field itself? It's going to be really exciting for all the audience to go through these videos first before we take up some questions. Is it fine with you, Dr. Kharate? Oh, there is some disturbance. Not able to hear you. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Kharate. Now, may I request Shashikiran to turn on the video. That first go to the rabid animals video. We ourselves have actually captured these. Our team members have captured these videos in the field. None of these videos they are actually downloaded from the internet.
Sir, I have one
Okay,
request.
sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shashikiran sir is actually having some problem with the laptop, so I'll try presenting a video, sir.
Oh, may I know your good name, please?
I'm Spruha.
Pardon?
Spruha.
Oh, very special name. Thank you, Spruha.
Yes, thank you, sir. Sir, can you tell
Okay.
me which video you
Before
want me to?
the commencement of the videos, Spruha, let me
Yes,
take
sir.
this opportunity to thank Dr. Sri Krishna
Yes,
Islur,
sir.
sir.
Sure.
Thank you
Sure,
so
sir.
much, sir, for this wonderful presentation. Sir has discussed in detail about many things, starting from the etymology, structure of the virus, virus replication. Especially what he has discussed, important one is like advantage of DRIT over DFA. Like many laboratories, not all laboratories can afford 10 to 12 lakhs. So, but we have compound microscopes where this DRIT is possible. And let us hope soon we will use indigenously developed DRIT kits. And he has discussed about the establishment of OIE reference laboratory, which is a very important milestone in the history of this rabies in India, and how exactly the foramen magnum can be located. And he has also discussed about the prevalence of the rabies in canines and also in the wildlife. And thank you, Dr. Sri Krishna Islur, sir, for your enlightening presentation. We are grateful for the time and the efforts you took to share your thoughts and experience, sir, related to this rabies. And your lecture seemed to be provide like a much needed help, especially for those students carrying research. And the slides you showed us took us a very close look about rabies virus. And on behalf of International Veterinary Students Association Bidar, Dean Veterinary College Bidar, and participants of today's webinar, I thank you for your insightful presentation today, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And please stay tuned with us for a question and answer session. Spruha, over to you.
Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much. Thank you so much, Dr. Karate. In fact, you have been one of the experts in our loop itself. And know that very recently you have also undergone training. And thank you so much for your views and then your perseverance as well as the commitment. Please strengthen the laboratory in Bidar campus also. And we are there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For technical say inputs as well as the scientific expertise. And let us
Yes, sir.
let us take our university to the much greater heights at the not just at the national level. Now the KVFSU is being addressed internationally, because the laboratory is actually part of KVFSU and was extensively supported by CVA, Commonwealth Veterinary Association. Once again, my respectful pranamas to my guru, my mentor, Dr. S. Abdul Rahman, for all that. That is how it began. And now you know the KVFSU is in the international flag. Let us take pride in that. Now it's the call that you all the youngsters, you need to take this, move this further. Thank you. Over to Spruha.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Spruha?
Yes, sir. Sir, on behalf of all the students, I thank you a lot, sir, for sharing valuable information, which will be very useful and helpful for us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Spruha. Thank you.
Sir, which video would you want me to share, sir?
That rabid, say, animals.
Okay, sir.
I think there are two folders, Spruha. One folder comes
Yes, sir.
for the animal of. Please turn on that mark first. Rabid animal.
Yes, sir.
Go one by one.
Sir, is the screen visible?
Yeah, I can see that, ma. I can very clearly see that.
Okay. Sir. Should I put the first video, sir? Cow rabbit 2?
Maybe I suggest you to go for. Okay, we can start from the cow. Go in the serial sequence itself, Spruha.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sure. Sir.
First, we are going to see this cow rabbit 2. Whether all the participants are able to see that? Please increase the volume, Spruha. You can.
Yes.
But I can't see the. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. Is it playing now?
Yeah, we are able to see only the video in that, but sound is not coming.
Oh, okay. Just a minute, sir. I'll try something.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry for that, sir. Just a
No,
minute.
no issues, man. No issues, please. In fact, you can hear the painful sound of that animal. It's okay, no issues. Maybe there is some technical snag in the audio. Let it continue.
Okay, sir. I'll play it then.
I think there is some technical snag as far as the sound is concerned. But nevertheless, we can hear your voice very clearly. It's okay. Maybe you can stop this and then move on to the next one.
Okay, sir.
This was actually confirmed to be rabid in our laboratory itself. This is one Holstein Friesian cattle, and I myself have actually shot this video, captured this video. It was some 7 years ago. It was captured even before our laboratory was established in the year 2013. You see how this is jumping and it was making a loud noise. I'm sorry that there is some technical snag that we are not able to hear the audio of this animal. Other than that typical double bellowing, you will be able to appreciate. See, it's jumping, and then this was also confirmed to be positive for rabies in our lab. Typical double bellowing is there. This is calf of the same cow. In this particular calf, we could say appreciate that vent sucking. You know what is vent sucking? See, it is lifting the base of its tail, and then here also we could typically appreciate the double bellowing. Rabies in cattle.
Sir, Shashikiran sir is back, so he'll try to present, sir. Maybe we can hear the audio if he presents.
Yeah, that would be impressive. That would be really impressive.
Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Yes, sir. So
sir.
I'll-
Sorry for the inconvenience.
No issues. No issues. Please go ahead.
Yes, a little bit due to heat of the system, I got stuck, sir.
Oh, no issues, Shashikiran. Not at all. Please proceed.
So, which video should I play next, sir?
The next in the sequence.
Okay, so the cow rabbit to.
Yeah. Shashikiran, in case you are facing any snag, there you are. I think this
Is it visible, sir?
Yeah, this is visible. I think this is fine. You can skip this. We have already seen this.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Or in case you want the audience to appreciate the audio, just take a chance. Let us see.
Okay, sir. We'll try it, sir.
Okay.
Oh.
See. I hope you are able to view. Just to see the typical condition of this particular animal. Still pathetic to see. Okay, please go to the next video. Because we do not have much time, let us quickly surf through all these videos.
Okay, sir. So, sir, shall I play the horse?
Yeah, horse, you please go ahead. This is actually a case of rabies in Bangalore Turf Club itself. BTC in Bangalore. Now, see, this is a rabid horse in a BTC in Bangalore Turf Club. This image also was that. This also pharmacologically biting tendency. Whereas cat and buffalo, they do not have biting tendency, but nevertheless the saliva could be a source of bite. See, this horse will have a biting tendency. Okay, go to some dog.
Okay.
Yeah, the third one. The third one, yeah. This video was captured by one Dr. Vijay. He was my student here, and then he is working as a veterinary officer. He was working as veterinary officer near Bannerghata. He was working. This dog is actually tendency to bite the inert. Any amount of hitting or effort, it is biting like a tire of the cycle. Because Dr. Vijay of this dog through that occipital foramen approach, and then it was positive collaboration. See, biting the inanimate objects. Then go to that human being, the next to horse. This is really pathetic. And see, one of my medical doctors, who is a rabies, he captured this image from Rajasthan. I remember it is from Jaipur, Rajasthan. So he is actually expressing this hydrophobia. Can you see someone is trying to give him water and then he is shouting at him? Very pathetic condition. This is just a still image. And this person, he died of rabies within a couple of days. He had shared this image with me just last year. Next one, you can go to the next one now, Kiran. Yeah, go to that. This also image also, this is the video. See, again, hydrophobia is a typical clinical manifestation in human beings suffering from rabies. I think this is somewhere from Andhra Pradesh. This hydrophobic is trying to avoid just seeing the water itself. So in case of human beings, hydrophobia is a typical clinical manifestation. I think it's I think and all these human patients, they had the history of being now see his response to that water. I think it was there. Anyway, go to the next one. Yeah, next one. He is one army Jawan. I think he's an army Jawan in Madhya Pradesh. I got this video from one of our trainees from Madhya Pradesh some couple of years ago. See the peculiar sound. See, he's not able to fire properly. And they also have this photophobia as well as aerophobia. They can't sit underneath the fan. Peculiar. See, this is the typical sound. Very pathetic. And so far, there is no documented evidence of human-to-human transmission. It is only through the corneal transplantation. But nevertheless, the saliva could be a source of virus. Next one, please. Maybe this is the pig. This video was actually shared to me by one Dr. Julie. She is a veterinary scientist from Kerala, and she was also our trainee. And she has actually captured this image. Rabies in pigs, and all these cases were actually confirmed based on laboratory evidence. It's a violent movement. They are speaking something in Malayalam. Yeah, please go to the next. Now you can see one say sheep exhibiting the clinical manifestations of rabies, going and hitting its forehead to the wall. This video was captured by Dr. Sunil Kumar, who is a veterinarian in Shikaripura, and he did his PhD from the Department of Medicine, but nevertheless, vaccination in cattle. He captured this video. See, this is going and hitting its head to the wall. All these analyses were actually confirmed based on the laboratory. He's hitting the head. Okay. Maybe we can go to the next one, Shashikar.
Okay, sir. So it's the last one.
This is the last one. This is about WhatsApp video based. Say it was totally unexpected, and all of a sudden they called me, and I was there in the department, microbiology department, and then you can see how the WhatsApp video based instructions can be given to the field veterinarians, so that even without undergoing training, they can collect the brain samples from Occipital Foramen approach. We are giving instructions to them. Some internet. You can proceed. It is getting stuck. Please move to the next one. I think we can close this folder. Then we will show them. Yeah, it is getting stuck. Just stop it and move on to the next. The drill sample collection.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will end the video. Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I think we are with still more questions, QA sessions, sir, because too many people are very awaitedly waiting to ask you many more questions. So we are running short of time, like 1 o'clock. What shall we do, sir? Because still brain sample collection videos are there, and some QA session will be there.
What I suggest is, please turn on only the dog rabbit brain sample collection. Only one is enough, not the cat.
Okay. Okay, sir.
The second one. This video was actually by Mission Rabies, and I have just taken the clippings. Thanks to the Mission Rabies. This is how the brain sample is to be by Occipital Foramen method from dog.
Place the carcass in lateral recumbency. Flex the neck ventrally so that the vertebrae are easily palpated on the dorsal side of the neck. Identify the main landmarks. The external occipital protuberance on the back of the head, shown here, and the transverse processes of the first vertebra on either side of the neck, also called the wings of the atlas, shown here. Visualize where you'll make your incision over the back of the neck, caudal to the external occipital protuberance, but cranial to the wings of the atlas, perpendicular to the nuchal crest, shown by the dotted line here. First, palpate the landmarks, and then make a wide incision across the back of the neck, between the landmarks as described. As you begin to dissect, palpate for the cisterna magna, which can be felt as a depression on the midline of the spinal column, between the base of the skull and the first vertebra. Through the musculature of the neck with deep incisions until the atlanto-occipital joint is reached. Ventroflex the neck further to expose the cisterna magna, also called the cerebellomedullary cistern. Incise the brain stem at the level of the cisterna magna, and again as far cranially as possible.
Now he's removing that with the help of just cut it to the size, the brain stem, and then it's over. Hardly 5 minutes job.
Remove the brainstem sample using the scalpel blade or forceps. Place the sample onto a cut-resistant surface, such as the disposable foil here, and cut off a section of sample using the scalpel blade to submit for laboratory testing. Place the sample in the labelled screw cap vial. Have a gloved assistant hold open a sealable bag. The contaminated person performing the necropsy should drop the sample container into the bag without contaminating the outside of the bag. The assistant can then seal the bag. If a larger amount of sample is required, a straw can be used to core out tissue from the cerebellum, Amon's horn, and cortex.
But we have received this with the AI sheet.
Insert the end of the straw through the cisterna magna, direct towards one of the eyes. Gently rotate the straw whilst advancing, and once the straw reaches the rostral cranial cavity, rotate several times to detach the core of tissue from any remaining attachments. Before withdrawing the straw, pinch or place a finger over the end to create a vacuum before slowly withdrawing it.
Some amount of the brainstem which is left inside.
A portion of straw containing the sample and drop it into the sample pot, or gently squeeze the sample out into a sample pot.
Sample is there. Okay.
If needed,
I think that's fine. We'll stop that.
Directing the straw.
And that's enough. So similarly, one can also collect the brain sample from cattle and then other, say, species. Yes, I think that ends the session. Thank you very much. Let's open the question bank now.
Okay, sir. Sir, I have a request in you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kiran.
So because we have a Insta page as a IVSA BIDAR Insta account we are having, sir. So based on your request, can we post those 2 videos of one of brain sample collection as well as one of that rabid dog, some of the clinical signs, so that it will be very interesting to see the on our Insta page regarding the session and all.
Yes, but as far as the brain sample collection from this dog is concerned, basically that was developed by Mission Rabies. And I think, but you'll have to acknowledge them. The Mission Rabies.
Yes, sir.
The Mission Rabies, acknowledge them. Because this video was not captured by us, it was done by them. And the all other videos are actually generated by us.
Yes, sir.
You can share it to anybody. Let them make the best use of these videos.
Definitely, sir. Yes, sir. We'll request you, sir.
Okay.
Yes, dear participants, we also mail the PPT by the request on our speaker. Sir, if you agree with the sharing of your presentation, will it be good, sir, to share with the participants?
Definitely. Please share it to whosoever actually needs it. But only request is let them make the best use of this. And whenever they make the presentation, let them acknowledge this OI reference laboratory. That is the only request. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will definitely have those rules and regulations before posting them, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. Because really, you'll have very many questions, sir, but we'll be selecting very few due to the time
Yeah,
insufficient.
yeah. In what I suggest, Kiran, you may also
Yes, sir.
share my email ID to all the students, and then whenever they have any doubts, I don't know how far I will be in a position to pick their calls. I'll let them
Yes,
post
sir.
the questions by email also. In case I'm not able to address all the questions because of a time constraint, please share my email ID to them.
Definitely. With attachment of the presentation, we'll share your ID, sir, so that the participants can ask the questions and they can email you directly.
Sure, that would be great. Please go ahead.
Actually, sir, I posted your email ID. Please check it, sir, whether it is correct or not. kislur@gmail.com.
Exactly, this is correct. KIS. It is a single S, not double S. Don't get confused.
See, participants, I have already shared our eminent speaker's email ID. If I miss, unfortunately, very sorry for the inconvenience of time. If I miss some of your important questions, also please mail him, and definitely he will be clearing all your doubts.
Yeah.
Sir, I'll be asking some 2-3 questions.
Sure.
Sir, from Dr. Archana Jain, she was asking, is there any availability of vaccine for rabies to be introduced to neonatal or early childhood life for the protection against rabies, or only post-bite vaccine are available?
No, it is actually the same vaccine. There is no separate vaccines available for neonatal lives, and it is the same vaccine, and it is very much safe. The same vaccine is to be used. Over.
Okay, sir. The next question is Ishita Nair. She's asking, I read that the virus binds to the acetylcholine receptors majorly. Does
Yes.
this have anything to do with the zoonotic properties?
Pardon, it is, see, these, say, it is not only the N-acetyl nicotinic acid receptors, there are a couple of other receptors to which the virus can go and bind. And most importantly, say, it is highly neurotropic virus. But it doesn't mean to say that the virus cannot undergo replication in the cell culture system. See, we are using BHK21 cells. They are all fibroblasts. They are not nerve cells. And then we are also using the chicken embryo fibroblasts. We are using these vero cells. So once we repeatedly subculture the virus, we repeatedly adopt the virus to the cell culture system, we can make it infect these different kinds of non-neurotropic viruses also. Over.
Thank you, sir. Sir, the next question was Dr. KK Sardar. Is there any need of routine anti-rabies antibody monitoring in healthy individuals receiving post-exposure prophylaxis? What is protection period of purified chick embryo anti-rabies vaccine?
Yeah, so theoretically, rabies laboratories like our team, we have to be strictly undergoing vaccination every year. Say pre-exposure prophylaxis vaccination is 0721. Once this is done, next year, if it is less than 0.5 international units per ml, which is the minimal cutoff to ensure that it is conferring proper protection to the vaccinated individuals. Unless it is there, there is no need. If it is falling below 0.5, then there is no need, then we have to go for booster vaccination. So, but whenever there is no facility for such a refit or serum monitoring of anti-rabies vaccinal antibodies, then it is better we undertake vaccination every year, especially for the risk group.
Okay.
Annual booster.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, the Kiran CH was asking, name some oral rabies vaccine cost and now it's available in India.
No, that's a very good question. So this is why all the government of India, as well as municipal corporations, as well as laboratory personnel like us, we are all seriously thinking about developing these indigenous oral-based vaccines. But in other countries, especially in the United States, Canada, and then Eurasia, these oral-based vaccines have been used to protect these wild animals, to control the wild animal rabies, the sylvatic cycle. But it is not approved by government of India so far. Whatever the vaccination, whatever the trials have been conducted at the field level by mission rabies, it is only the bait. I hope you know what I mean. Bait means the chicken heads or the fish meal or the yolk, egg yolk. Within these baits, the vaccine virus will be introduced. Then only the host, the free roaming dog, can eat it and then will develop the immunity. So far, there is no approved oral bait vaccine in India, but soon we feel that we are going to have it. And government of India has also supported us, as well as ICR, to develop this indigenously. We are working on this. Over.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I'll be asking the last question. Like Dr. Daljeet Chabra, milk from rabid animal can be consumed after boiling? Or sir, I will add some points like if rabid animal bites lactating animal, is the virus shed in milk?
There is, see, one of our students, we have detected the presence of rabies virus in the rabid cow. You know, I have actually shown you that first video of a Kumbal wherein we also collected the milk sample, we did PCR, and then we could detect the presence of rabies viral RNA in the milk that was shed, that was actually obtained from the rabid cow. But there is not even a single episode of picking up this infection, rabies infection, through consumption of milk from the rabid animal. Conventionally, WHO was also was also providing guidelines so that they can undertake a post-exposure vaccination in case someone had actually drunk this milk collected from the rabid cow. But since there is not even a single documented evidence of transmission of rabies to human beings through consumption of milk from a rabid cow, now the WHO also says there is no need to undertake post-exposure prophylactic vaccination. But coming to the second part of this question, see, rabies virus is highly fragile virus. Even if you pasteurize, you know, pasteurization temperature is much less than the boiling temperature. Even at pasteurization temperature also, the rabies virus is effectively inactivated. No problem in consumption of pasteurized or boiled milk collected from the rabid animal, rabid cow. Over.
Thank you so much, sir. Dear participants, we are very sorry that we are running out of time. So I request all your questions to be mailed to Dr. Sri Krishna Islur, sir, as we have already shared the email ID of a respective speaker. Now I request Karate, sir, to move on.
Thank you, Shashikiran. So thank you so much, sir, for clearing many doubts and showing the videos. Those videos are much helpful, sir. Those will be helpful. Like earlier, it was very difficult. Like people were thinking how to collect brain sample. That was a very big question in front of veterinarians. Now that has solved, and in minutes, someone can collect brain samples from their dead animals suspected to be died of rabies. Now it is simplified. Thank you so much for the videos and clearing doubts. Now it is time for vote of thanks. I request Pradyumna to present a vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon to the panelists, the organizers, and the participants. I am Pradyum Devaya, the president of IVSA India, and I'm very happy and gives me immense pleasure that I was part of this captivating webinar called as Rapid. It has not only solved so many doubts about rabies, but has given me an in-depth knowledge about this virus and this disease. I would like to express my gratitude to the panelists, Dr. Dilip Kumar sir, Dr. Ashok Bhosle sir, Dr. Praveen Malik sir, and of course, our main guest and guest of honor, Dr. Islur sir, for providing us such a beautiful and in-depth explanation about this deadly disease. I would also like to express my gratitude to the organizers, Dr. Arun Karate sir, and the president of IVSA Bidar, Shashi Kiran, and his team who have organized this beautiful and wonderful webinar and at such a short time. I'm really happy to see that IVSA Bidar is taking up so much activity. I would also like to thank the participants for being part of this webinar and making it a success. In the end, I would like to say, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Mr. Pradyumna, and thank you so much for being there as a president of this association. My personal thanks to my good friend and my colleague, Dr. Ravi Karate, and Dr. Dilip Kumar, the Dean of the Veterinary College Bidar, and most importantly, the student leader, the president of Bidar chapter of IVSA. Wish you all the best. Let us get connected. And most of you have been the students. I just would like to pass on some message to you. Yeah. So please have some kind of commitment. Whatever you do in the profession of a veterinary science, think of the society. Work for out of a passion. So definitely you are going to complete. Most of you are going to complete your BVSc very a job somewhere. And wherever you are there, have a kind of a never give up attitude. as far as your responsibilities are concerned. Try to give back something to the society which is really beneficial to the society through the profession of a veterinary science, and then in turn we are going to really strengthen the country. And with respect to rabies, wherever you are there, getting a chance, so try to contribute something. And whenever you feel that we at our Rabies Diagnostic Laboratory, Veterinary College, Bangalore, Department of Microbiology are of some help, please do not have an iota of hesitation to contact us. Already you have the email ID. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much, Dr. Karate, once again for the opportunity you have given me to talk to the veterinary students, especially in addition to several other faculties. Thank you so much. Let us get connected. Wish you all the best.
So much, sir.
And my
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
My special compliment to the person who actually designed this terminology, rapid. You know, it's so similar to rabbit. Just the P and B, that's all the difference, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
My compliments to the person.
Definitely, sir. Our exchange officer, Spruha, she actually did it, sir. She gave the name for this organization, like webinar.
Very interesting, and compliments to Spruha. Thank you all.
Definitely, sir.
That means a lot. Thank you so much.
Oh, really, ma? Please continue to do all that.
Thank you,
The
sir.
association, and wish you all the best. Take care of yourself. Bye.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir, for spending the time. Thank you so much, sir. We'll surely have you in the future. It's our pleasure to have you.
Definitely, Kiran, and thank you so much again, Dr. Arun Karate. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, sir. We are really lucky to have you today, sir. Thank you, sir.
All of you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Dear participants, now we are winding up the session. Thank you so much. Thank you each and everyone. Shashi Kiran?
Yes, sir.
Okay, shall I leave the session?
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Dear participants, thank you so much for patience listening for such a great session. I will be posting you the code for day 2. Sorry, we can't post the code for day 1 because you have missed it yesterday. We are very sorry for inconvenience, as we are already told that you could have been attended through YouTube also. So please take care. Definitely don't worry about certificates and all. We organize this kind of sessions for the knowledge purpose. I hope you all got a very good knowledge. Thank you so much for your patience listening. Surely we'll take care of organizing such events in future also, and I all request to please support in the same manner. Thank you each and every participants for spending your valuable time with us. Thank you one and all.
Everybody, do follow the IVSA Bidar Instagram, where you will find all the updates you need, everything about the webinar or any other further events will be notified. So please make sure you follow the Instagram account for more details. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Please, we will be sharing all the presentations that we are, what the speaker has been shared with us. We'll be sharing the presentation as well as some videos to all of you. Please follow the IVSA Bidar Insta page to all the updates you all need. So I think it's a time to end. Already done with the time. Thank you so much, everyone. Stay safe. Stay in home. Take care. Till then, bye. Sarve jana sukhina bhavantu.